Hello, friends.
Okay, so I wanted to do what I'm calling a secret live stream because we don't know what we're frickin' doing. So we started this at like 11:15, and it's 1:15, and we're finally getting this thing up and running. Had some issues with mics and things like that, and so we're going to attempt to do this much more often. And sitting to my left, which would be, I guess, your right on screen, is Chris Haynes.
Hey there.
He's the captain of the what do we call that thing? The HOC.
The HOC.
The hunk of crap that I had to drive the first time that I lost the first weight loss challenge. I still owe 500 burpees, which I had scheduled, and then I blew out my back. So I'm going to have to... I keep thinking I'm going to get in shape and I'll be able to do them more efficiently, but apparently that's not going to happen. So anyway, welcome to Dialed In Podcast. Sorry for the technical difficulties there. I purposely didn't announce this because I want to test run this and see if I can get it to work and get the audio dialed in. So if you guys in the comments can do your what you normally do, which is complain about everything that I do and tell us what needs to be improved. I think maximum you can only stream at 720p on YouTube, so I don't think we can really affect the quality, other than that camera looks a little crooked. Should we maybe flatten it out so people don't have like a little tilted view? Yeah, that looks better. So we're in OGHQ studio in Central Florida. I've got Bryce sitting in the captain's chair running the stream, so hopefully we can make this somewhat efficient at some point. He's been giving me the stink eye because we're running this on a Mac. And I think we probably need to run it on a PC. So I'm gonna have to spend thousands of dollars to get all kinds of stuff to make it sort of work, because live streaming seems to always be problematic. So anyway, the plan here is, I've said this 57 times on the podcast, that okay, I'm ready to go. I've started a new system. This is going to be the new host or the new whatever. This is my new resolution. I'm not going to say that this time. What we're going to do is just try stuff. And so we're going to try to stream it. Eventually we'll get on some semblance of a schedule where I'll announce ahead of time so you'll know when we're going to be live. And then I'd like to get some more participation on things and questions that I could then answer. And so I have Chris. We're going to see if he's any good at this. So we're going to try this out. I'll probably let him say about 13 words per episode. But the basic premise here is that I need somebody second chair to keep me on track. Otherwise, I just sit there and ramble for an hour straight, which I'm plenty capable of doing. But I think we probably need to keep me on track. So what we're going to do today is talk a little bit about just kind of what's going on here, and then we may answer some questions and things like that, which we have on the screen. Which there's a bunch of people on. I'll try to answer any super chat questions as well before we leave. So if you send me money, I'll answer the question. I guess that's how that works. So what I'd like to do very, very often, especially when I get the membership platform up and running, is to be able to give you an inside look into what this business is and what my life is. I mean, that's really what this is. Before the 2 hours of us getting this live stream up and running, you would have had me complaining and yelling about some of the stupid comments on YouTube, and the people that don't really get what I'm about. Maybe they're new to it, or maybe they don't care to get what we're about here. But the intent is to share 50% on YouTube that I'm more comfortable doing publicly, and then the other 50% sharing even more about the construction of what is my future life. And so that's the intent, is to eventually put that behind a paywall that costs you a few bucks. And what I'm thinking about doing is giving away, I freaking hate that term, giveaway. Doesn't that sound douchey to you?
Rewarding. Awarding.
Even that's cheesy. It's more like getting people to give me money to then give them the car, and so I can give away the 1M and do it efficiently and then get some attention. I don't know. It just seems disingenuous to call it a giveaway because I'm not really giving away anything. I'm raising money in order to buy the next car. So I'm going to be working on how to craft that and how to make that work, and that I don't want to give the 1M away yet, but I don't want it long term, and so we're going to figure out some sort of structure on how to do that at some point. So anyway, Chris's role here at HQ is what?
I do a little bit of everything.
What's your title?
I don't have a title. I'm the head of HR, the head of customer relations. I am the payroll liaison.
Yes. You're the
shipping assistant.
How many times a day do I walk out there and just throw some random crap out that's up top of mind that is like a major project that's going to take us the rest of our waking hours for the next 6 weeks to fix?
It's when you apply for a job and it says in fine print, other duties as assigned. That's my title. I do all that stuff. So I do a little bit of everything, but it's fun. It's a good time.
So Chris and I met each other at CrossFit, it's probably 6 years,
almost
7 years ago. And he had expressed some interest in helping me out with some different projects, and I said, man, yeah, that someday I'm going to hire you. I don't know if you thought I was legit or not, but it's happened. So you've been here for 4 or 5 months now?
Yeah, I started on my birthday. August 27th was my first day.
So you'll always remember that then. Yeah. The gift that I gave you that'll always keep on giving.
Yeah. It was the best birthday present ever. And we should address the elephant in the room here before we go any farther if you look at our shirts.
Oh, shit.
See, Matt texted me last night.
Said, no, I did not
your
do
blood hand
that.
Shirt. And then we met in the parking lot this morning and we held hands. And we skipped into the office together. It was good.
Oh, man. If I would have known that. You knew that, didn't you? And you let that happen. I would have gone and changed my shirt in a second. Oh, shoot.
Yeah. These are on sale at OGHQ.com as well. So make sure to go. And hi, Brian Deal. I see you there in the chat. Good to have you here.
Lord. Brian, edit the description for us. I'm sure we typoed something. So anyway, Chris this has been huge for me. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, I left wealth management and in June, and then, freaked out for about 90 days and just worked myself like a machine, hoping that I could survive. And then I immediately went from scarcity and survival to hiring a bunch of people. So if you guys have noticed, the emails hopefully get answered quicker. The videos have thumbnails. Bryce takes care of a lot of the editing. We're getting lots of products created because I have a vision for what it is, for what this place, this destination is, and so one of my initial thoughts was I need to hire a bunch of me, but what I really needed was a bunch of people that have that are very different from me, and so that's why I wanted to have Chris on the podcast, was because he can give maybe a little different perspective, call me out on my crap and stuff like that. So the business that's become Obsessed Garage from this YouTube channel has become my thing. This is my gig. This is what I do. I go out and obsess over things like, for instance, the pressure washers, which I guess we can start talking about, and chase it and build it. So how many hours do you think we have into this thing thus far on this pressure washing project? It's
a lot. Hundreds of man hours.
Yeah. I mean, 25 hours of just getting them out of the box and assembling them with multiple people. Then how many times have we moved them? I probably have 6 hours just moving them around in the freaking garage.
You added all the quick disconnects. You had to go find all the right parts to do that sort of thing.
Yeah. So crafting and building the packages, and then Bryce is photographing, and we're creating a configurator, and then basically delivering on what I think the world has asked us for. Because, how many emails do we get a week on? I know I tend to exaggerate, but that is one thing that I don't really exaggerate on. We do lots and lots and lots, or get lots of questions about.
Yeah, one of the things when I first took over, you wanted me to do is help take email off of your plate.
Mm-hmm.
And not exaggerating, 75% of the emails that I got that were for you or now for me were, I have this pressure washer. What do I need to connect this hose to this gun to my pressure washer? And there was everything. There's all the stuff we have, then there's European models, there's stuff I've never heard of. There's a guy who found one like at a garage sale, and he's like, how do I make this work? And so I think that's part of what your niche is and why people care, why people watch is, okay, he's going to find a solution, so I just go and I click and I'm done. And I don't have to sort through 800 parts.
And that's kind of where Obsessed Garage comes from, is that the business part of it, the actual brand, the Obsessed Garage is just me, right? It's me and you, and it's what we're creating here. But, Obsessed Garage as a business exists because I had this suspicion that, like, for instance, when I was buying my Krenzel, one, I wish there were photos and videos and things like that of it. And then when I got it, I wish there was some guy I could watch a video of or send an email to or go to a store and just buy the quick disconnects. Because when I'm doing it, I'm trying to figure it out. It's like, buy something, wait. Oh, that didn't fit. Buy something else, wait. And by the way, that buying part took me 3 hours of research to figure out to buy. Okay, I've got it. I've got it licked. How many times you guys see me do this with my car? Okay, I've got the exhaust. And then 13 later, and tens of thousands of dollars and lots of obsessing and lots of talking and discussing and installing and all that stuff is kind of what I think Obsessed Garage is. And despite my disdain for these pressure washers, which is very clear, there is a very clear need for it. And so I really enjoy the creating the solution part. And so what I'm doing in honesty is I'm creating a system so that I don't have to talk to anybody. Right? So I'm creating a solution so that you could just go and click a button and say, okay, I have Ryobi XYZ, and hopefully at some point we can import the Simonize from Canada and maybe some of the European versions and create an international solution, a database of all this information. And then ultimately, at the end of this, we'll be able to provide some recommendations as well.
Right, and I think you're learning stuff in the process here. Because, pressure washers already, but every time we use something else, the Karchers, by the way, somebody's asking about Karchers. We did that this morning.
Half of them, yeah.
Right. And we're finding out, okay, here are the, as you called them, what did you call them? Each one has their own little quirk. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And the Karchers have this with it, and the Greenworks have this. And you've actually found a couple that, hey, I'm kind of a pressure washer snob, meaning you, not me. But there is good here. And if you're a guy who doesn't want to spend $900 on a Krenzel, hey, buy this Greenworks. It's actually pretty good if you get the right hose, the right gun. And I think there's lots of people out there who are like, listen, I don't want to spend $1,000, but I'm willing to spend a little bit to upgrade it and make it. Because the gun and the hose make all the difference for some people.
I struggle with that a little bit because I don't want to water down this thing. And there was a comment on YouTube earlier that I got all fired up about, where some guy was saying, this guy only does, Mr. Obsessed Garage only does expensive stuff, and there could be a better way to do it, and your videos would be much better if you found a cheaper solution to solve the problem. And then he called everybody sheep. And then I came out and said, you loser, we're all freaking lions here. But my fear with dealing with these pressure washers, the first fear was I would smash every one of them and lose $7,000 and just go out and just with a sledgehammer and smash them all into 1,000 pieces and then have to clean it up. Just the frustration of it. But again, in all honesty, the main fear of this was I don't want to water down the message, and I don't want to. What I'm afraid of is putting my stamp of approval on a Greenworks or a Karcher, and it not being what I say it is, or because I'm not willing to use it and test it for 7 years and then come up with okay, this is perfect. As chances are, a year and a half into it, it's going to break, and then I'm going to want to do something else. So what my thesis here is that with a Karcher or a Greenworks or Ryobi or Sunjoes, I love those so much. Sunjoe has just done a better job marketing these things. I mean, I think even you guys would agree with that they really underperformed all of the other options. The fear is that that I'm putting my stamp and then these things break, and I don't want to do that. But the parts and pieces really can make the user experience not so shabby. Especially if you get like a 75-foot hose and you put your pressure washer like behind the wall and you don't know what you have, you'll notice the fact that you're not getting as much flow. But if you don't have a 2-gallon-per-minute Krenzel in your garage to compare to, you'll never frickin' know. You won't know the difference. And so, if you take that one Karcher was pretty decent. If you take the Karcher and you put the right fittings and the right hose and the right everything on it, it's not too shabby. So we're getting close.
Yeah, and I think to kind of speak to some people out there, if you found a Karcher that you enjoyed more than your Krenzel, you would say it. You'd be like, "Hey, this is the greatest thing ever."
Do you believe that? Do you think I would?
I think you would. Yeah, I think you're proud, and you probably wouldn't want to, but if you found one, because you found some so far, and you're like, "Okay, this is actually pretty good. I like this." Mm-hmm. Not that you're going to go buy one because you don't want that. You want something else.
See, I think people think that I'm choosing Krenzel because I'm selling Krenzel. I chose to sell Krenzel because I chose Krenzel. And that I get that that's a slippery thing here.
Right.
That now I'm just defending my choice. I could literally stop selling them right now and choose something else in an instant. There's no tie. In fact, Krenzel's been pretty vocal. They're scared that I would do that. But I have every one of them. The only one that makes sense was I just became a Karcher dealer today in order to buy the fittings and stuff like that, or I'm working to become a dealer. Karcher has some high-end competitors to Krenzel, but they're like $1,000 more. So maybe they're better, and maybe I'll jump ship to that. But my suspicion is the quality of the Krenzel is going to outperform others. But I'm telling you, people, I mean, I chose it because I chose it, and I'm selling it because I believe in it. And I know that the people that are bought in, I think they get that. But I think many of those that maybe can't afford it or don't want to support just believe some story that they made up that I wouldn't bag it.
Right.
I wish if one of those $200 Sunjoes were better, you know how much more money I would make? It would be insane because then I could sell it to everybody.
Yeah.
But
I don't think it's simply a money thing either, because I don't know what it would be, but there's something out there more expensive than a Krenzel.
Yeah.
And it's maybe it doesn't perform as well. And so it's not just I found the most expensive one.
Bingo.
And I'm going to push it. This is the best, and there's some that's more expensive, and I don't want those because they're not as good. And there's some that are cheaper, and I definitely don't want those because they're definitely not as good.
I mean, there are more expensive cars, but I want a GT3 RS. The GT2 RS is more expensive, but I don't want that.
Right.
The GT3 is what I want. But, I get that there's a perception here that I'm giving off, and, hopefully through things like this and letting people in, and, we can have a discussion about it at least, and maybe I can sway a couple of people. But I guess if you're not hacking people off, then you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Then you're faking it. So the pressure washers will hopefully get them out of here. I'm about ready now. I can't sell them all yet, but if you're local, come get them. I'm selling them 50% off of what I paid for the pressure washer, but you have to buy the stuff. And that'll help me pay for the cost of all of this stuff. Ryobis are done. Greenworks will hopefully be done. If I didn't just waste 3 hours of Chris's time today, he's kitting up the inventory structure of the Greenworks, and then Bryce and I will start working on the Sunjoe stuff.
AR is done.
Yeah. They are, but not in the store yet. So we're working on that, and it's a lot more intensive than people think. There are many steps not only do we have to procure the product from the suppliers, but then we have to make sure it works, and then we have to decide which is which, and then we have to take photos and edit the photos and upload the photos, and then attach the photos and then write the descriptions, and then create the dimensions, weigh and measure everything, make sure it fits in a box, then teach everybody what's what, and then create it in the store with all the different variants and drop downs. And sure enough, we created 75,000 different variants, and then we got an email yesterday, and the guy's like, well, what about this one? I'm like, God dang it. Well, what if I have my own hose, and then So, we're working on it. It's getting there. Enough about frickin' pressure washers. I don't even care about pressure washers. How did I become, like, the pressure washing guy?
So let's talk about your M1. Tell us about your M1.
1M. Jesus. People are gonna melt down in the darn comments already. So 1M is great. It's not the car for me. I was at Adam's place. Sean from PSI, a friend of mine, said, I was looking at the 1M. I'm like, yeah, that's a cool car. It's something I'd like to own someday. And he goes, oh, it's for sale. And you know how my mind works. I'm like, oh. And then I start thinking. I'm like, shoot. And then I couldn't hear what anybody said the rest of the entire day because I started thinking about it. I'm like, man, this would be cool. Here's I could do this. I could justify it. And performance seats. And then my friend Alan owns the car, which I talked about in the wash videos and stuff. And my friend Alan owns the car. And so we worked it out. I said the prerequisite, you got to deliver it to me. And I thought, I'll just buy it with all the modifications on it. Be good. And I'll just, kind of ride it around a little bit, and then maybe we'll do some sort of giveaway or raffle, or I'll sell it and just experience it. Check that off the life list, and then buy a GT500 and a Corvette and a McLaren and a whatever and a whatever and a whatever to experience those. And I thought it'd be really cool at this opportune time of having the E92 M3 and modifying it to compare the two in the process. And so now I got the car. And it's cool. It sounds like crap right now. So now the whole modification game...
How many exhausts have you have on order right now?
One.
Just one, okay.
One, but with two variants. So actually, it would be three variants because I have the mid-pipe, the rear section, and then I can play with the catless downpipe. So I have 4 or 5 different iterations that we can play with to get working. So now I'm gonna demodify the modified car. I should have just bought a unmodified car from the start. So I spent more money on a car to take all the parts off and lose money on, but that's I don't know, whatever. That's the spice of life, Chris. What can I say?
I'll make you a good deal on a Camry. I got a good Camry with your name on it.
Yeah, so that thing, it's cool. I never thought I'd own an orange car in my life, but we're going to pull the PPF off and polish it. I found out it does have a Seat Quartz UK 3.0 on it. So that's going to make it tricky. I'm going to have some videos of how to remove that and removing PPF. And then I have to decide, do I wax it or do I coat it? Do I put PPF back on it? The PPF is actually pretty decent on it, but I think I'll pull it off. I'm never going to be riding bumper to bumper with that car. And to be honest with you, whoever else gets it next, I don't really freaking care. I'm going to do what I want to do with the car, and then when I do want to sell it, hope that there's somebody else that would want it the same way I wanted it. And they could always add PPF to it again if they wanted to. That's the current plan. So new wheels, brakes, exhaust, put the trunk back on. So basically take everything off of it that it's on it. So I'm essentially admitting that I'm an idiot.
Well, and this is good too, because a lot of the emails that you get, that I get, are, I have this on my car, I just did this, do you recommend using this on it? And you may or may not have done that, or you may not have had PPFF on a car before. But if you get something and now you're like, okay, well now I have it, now I have to deal with it, what am I going to do with it? And so then you open up, okay, now there's these other people watching. Well, I have that, and I've wanted to know the answer. Now I do know the answer. And you wouldn't have chosen it maybe in the first place, but now that you're kind of...
Yeah, I talk about this a lot. It's the difference between an opinion and an experience. Right? Our coach talks about this a lot. When you have an opinion, you generally have a judgment. And of course, I have opinions, right? But there's a different vantage point when you have actual experience. I've owned an F80 M3, so when I render my findings or what I know about the car is from an experience standpoint. You may or may not agree with how I experience the car, but you certainly can't invalidate it. I bought the car. I owned the car for 2 years. I modified it. I did everything that I could to it. I don't like the way it sounds. I didn't like the way it felt. I love the way that thing looks. Whenever I see one of those drive by, it's just incredible. So my experience of the car is, I've been there. I've done that. I don't dislike the car. I don't hate people that own it. In fact, I have many, many people who are probably watching right now have the same car and love it. And that's awesome. Or if you're thinking about buying the car, I'm sharing my experience, and then you could use that information to make a determination on what works. And ultimately, I think that's what this whole thing is all about, is sharing that experience. And the more cars that I have, the more experience I have. But again, I'm going to experience it from a driving around the street perspective, not a track perspective, just not my bag.
Right. We've had a couple people who asked about visiting OGHQ.
Mm-hmm.
And we have, just to kind of tell you who are watching, we have people here pretty much every single week from local folks, from all over the world. A guy was here a couple weeks ago from Norway. A couple guys from Great Britain stopped in. And so just kind of tell, like, what somebody asked, okay, if I want to stop by, what do I do?
So I think the smart thing to do, since we're kind of out here in the middle of nowhere, is make sure that we're going to be here, which is generally always. And then the hard part is going to be knowing if I'm here, right? So I think I'm going to set expectations that I'm here most of the time, but I'm not always here. So sometimes you'll come and you'll have to meet everybody else, and
you'll have to meet everybody else,
or you'll have to meet somebody other than me.
Right. That
could happen. But yeah, I want this to be open invitation to be able to come in, and hopefully when you come, you'll buy something that's help to justify it. I think the vast majority of people that have come have been self-aware enough to know when the welcome and when it's time, to come. But what I want people to do when they come here is to just jump in. Right, so when you get here, if you're interested in looking at a bottle of CarPro Pearl and you want to open it up and smell it, just go frickin' do it. No one's going to come and steal stuff from here. It's just not the mentality of the people that would come all the way up here. That's just not my experience of that. So I want people to be able to come, jump in. If I'm working on pressure washers, like a couple of guys came not too long ago, hey, jump in, start unhooking. Let's, I think most people know when to contribute and where to contribute. So I want people to the ability to be able to contribute, go move the ladder, walk up the ladder, and check something out. And so that's the goal, is to build a place where people are invited and that we give a tour to and tell the story to and allow them to participate. And in fact, the whole purpose of the whole goal, longer term, when I talk about OGHQ as a destination, is to get a place where there is an excuse to come and do things. So generally, people come, they get to meet everybody, and we get to whatever product you're interested in taking a look at or playing with or just experiencing. If you want to go see how the twin bush lift works, we'll fire up the air compressor and show you how it works. That's what I want to happen, and I want the warehouse to look a certain way and feel a certain way so that people can experience that. Because I know when I went to Adams or I went to Auto Geek or I went to other places, I didn't even care about the training or the event as much as I wanted to just kind of experience the vibe.
Right.
And so that's what I'm hoping happens.
And that's been neat to see, like when people come here. I remember I sent you a text when I saw a video. I think you were at Adams Polishes, and you were just like looking around, and you're like, you were in awe kind of the place and how it was set up. I said one day somebody's going to feel that way when they walk into OGHQ. Like that's going to be their Disney World, for lack of a better term. They're going to walk in and just be like, man, this is awesome. I've seen this place. I've read about it. I've heard about it. And now I get to be here. And so it's cool when people come, because then we get to show you, hey, here's the giant wall of towels. Here's the pressure washer on the wall. You can go touch it, feel it, spray it, do what you want. You can measure this. You can touch every single towel. You can smell what you want to smell. And so it's really neat. So if that's something you want to do, definitely come by. You can email us and just say, hey, are you going to be there? Because we don't want you to show up if we're not going to be here. But Matt's schedule kind of changes from day to day, week to week. So we can let you know, okay, maybe he won't be here, but you're definitely welcome to come anyway, for sure.
Yeah, that's better said. Maybe you should just do all the talking. That's better said than I did, and much more concise. That's it in a nutshell. I want people to be able to come and experience and what I have always wanted to do was be able to go pull it off the shelf. I don't want to go into like the front room. I want to be able to see the back. And that's the whole point of what I want to do with my membership program is I want to, it's going to be called Inside the Hex. I want people to be invited in to the real, to see the flaws, but see what the result came out of, rather than just putting on this front of a retail store. So I want the retail store to be the warehouse, where you literally walk into the warehouse and use and touch and feel everything. So when I build the next iteration of this place, I don't want there to be a showroom. I want there to be the warehouse, which is a showroom. That's the goal. And then people can come in and experience it. I'm sure, if it got really big, at some point we'll have to have some sort of structure around that. And this was my mistake in the Facebook group from the beginning, was that just act like a gentleman. And my expectation is of people to act like an adult. And so I'm sure at some point we'll have to implement some more specific rules, but I probably won't be a part of the rule writing. I'll be wanting to break those rules every time, because you could literally, you could invite me to Auto Geek, and I'm not going to violate them. And I expect other people to do the same. Just come in and know your place, but, don't violate. Don't be an idiot. And 98% of the people that are a part of this thing that would come here, I've found that's the way it works.
Definitely. We've had a lot of super nice people. And it's good getting to hear their story. Those guys from Orlando who came up, their father had literally flown their family into Florida from Cuba when they were kids. And he landed his plane illegally just to get his family here. And now they own a construction business in Orlando and really successful. And they wanted to come here to buy stuff, and to get to talk to them and share that with them. It was just you don't get that in clicking online to buy something.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. The story. And so I'm always wanting people to share their story, which is difficult because there's a lot of introverts in this realm. But when somebody shares their story, it's powerful. It's helpful to everybody. Yeah. So HQ, come on by, 322 Oak Street, Lady Lake. Email Chris at obsessgarage.com, and come on by, make the trip. I think it's gonna get bigger and bigger. I think we're gonna buy this building. I think we're gonna buy the building out back, and I think eventually I'm gonna buy something like that property that I showed online, something like that, and I'm gonna make it a place that I would want to go to. So that's the goal. And if it happens, it happens. I think we already have it. We already have it in this little 2,000 square foot building. So whether it's 2,000 or 100,000, I don't think it really matters, because it's ultimately about the people and the relationship. So what else you got for me?
Well, I'm just looking at some of the questions here. We do ship liquids internationally now. Yes, we've been working on that.
It's expensive, but yeah, we'll do it.
Australians, I know there's some Australians out there. I get emails from our Australian friends a lot about shipping costs. We're working on shipping costs. It's something we're kind of constantly improving, constantly working on. It's the one thing I have an issue with and it's not a function of how much your item costs. If you pay $80 for something and you're in Australia and it costs $60 to ship it to you, it has nothing to do with the price of the product. It's all about the weight, the dimensions, who's getting it there. The UPS guy who comes to pick up our stuff, he doesn't like to work for free, and so we have to pay him, and we have to pay everybody along the way, and we try to get that as dialed in as possible. And I've actually sat there at the desk when we're shipping, and you can see this person paid $12.96 for ground shipping. And then when UPS, when it brings it up, okay, it costs $12.96. And UPS is super good about their prices, and we're super close. When it comes to international, we're still working on that and trying to get that as lined up as we possibly can.
Yeah, we'll have one where we'll lose $30, and the next where we'll make $12 or $8. And a lot of it comes down to the dimensional weight is the big problem with this. And what my goal, I don't think I'll ever be able to do free international shipping. It's just not possible. You sell a $120 item that has $45 in profit, and you can't give away $70 in shipping. It's just not possible. But the eventual goal, my hope is, when I talk about sponsorship, I often get reached out to by companies that want to pay me $1,000 or $5,000 to hawk some crap that I'm not interested in. But I think my longer term goal was to be able to go back to the suppliers as buying power gets better, and be able to negotiate maybe better margins on products, so that I can eat some of the shipping costs, in combination of shipping prices falling. And so the goal, it would be to get domestic shipping to be free. That would be the hope. But it just doesn't make sense now. We would probably double our volume if we offered free shipping, but then I'd have to hire more people, and it would eat the margins, and then I'd have no profit. It wouldn't make any sense. And so my ask to people is that what I'm hoping people do is if they support us by just paying the $8 it costs to ship. Because if I eat the $8 on every $32 order, I'm screwed. Then this place won't exist, and I'll be working a job somewhere.
Okay, so got a question for you. It's the new year. I know you're not a big goal guy, resolution guy, but going forward, for those people who are watching here and who support you and who want to see the channel grow, and you do all these great things, like, what are some things they can look forward to coming up this year that you have, like, okay, I'm planning to do this, or this is something cool we're going to do?
Shoot. Just thinking about what my life looked like 6 months ago, it's kind of hard to predict now. But the things that I absolutely want to do, we're going to need more space. So I want to buy this building that we're in, so that would basically double our space. So 2019 goal would be to have this building, to own this, and there's a building out back, and build some sort of breezeway, or maybe try to make an offer on the building behind us. So I'd like to have a little bit bigger destination, so we're not squeezed into this, so I can start to then host trainings here. So the goal would be to host some larger attended things where we have 20 or 25 people come, where it's a couple $100, and then have some boutique type, one-on-one type training stuff for probably a smaller walk of life, people that have a little bit more means. And so training is on the docket. I probably would have 3 or 4 more cars over the course of this year. So you can probably expect, I would really like to buy a Corvette. I'll probably hate it. I know I'll hate it. But I want to buy a Corvette this year. And I want to experience it and dial it in, and then move it on to the next person. And so I'm going to do that. And I might even take the Corvette progression, get a Grand Sport, get a Z06, and then get a ZR1. Not all this year, but who knows, maybe. I move fast. I would also like to, by the end of this year, if I have this facility owned, so if I own this building and the building out back, I want to build my garage. So these are big, lofty, very expensive goals. I don't know if it's possible. We'd need to double our sales to make this happen. But I would like to build my garage at my house. And I think I'm going to stay here. So I think we're going to stay put in this area. But who knows? But as of right now, that's what I'm thinking. What else do I want to do? I don't want to travel a lot. It's just not working out because I'm freaking traveling twice a month for the next 3 months. So I'm hoping I can be a bit saner this year. That's the goal. I got another psychiatrist appointment this week. So whether I have to get medicated or not, hopefully I can become a bit more sane and be a little less anxious. And then the YouTube channel, I'll be doing some more collaborations with some people, which would involve some more traveling. And I'm going to get, we'll have the store built out by then so that I can just start doing different versions of the products. So I can improve like the car washing package. I can start to chase things like with Krenzel. There's some modifications I'd like to make to the machines to convince me, even if I have to fly to Germany to get that worked out. Shoot, this is supposed to be a short question. I can keep going. We'll probably have several more people hired here. I'd like to, let's see, cars, house, membership program, start to turn over a car more often. That's no biggie.
That's the goal, is to have a car that like the
rotating,
right,
the revolving
the 1M,
car,
not the M1, the 1M. So you're going to keep that a few months.
Keep it for as long as it needs to be kept, whether it's 3 months or 6 months or 8 months or 6 weeks. Keep it as long as I'm excited about it. That would be a major goal this year. But the biggest goal was HQ, making it the initial destination 1.0 or 1.1, making it so that what we talked about earlier, people can come and experience it. But who knows what else? Because if you were to ask me this at the beginning of 2017 or 18, I would have predicted any of it.
Right.
So who freaking knows?
All right, a couple last things here. Bryce, will you scroll up to the top there, all the way to the top? There was one question that was like super highlighted, like the very top. A couple of questions, though, we had from people about new products that you might be carrying, and that's a question I get a lot is, okay, I guess it's not there anymore. Thank you, though. But are you going to carry an interior package? Are you going to carry this line of products? We just got an email today about Hyde's products. There's always somebody hyperdressing McGuire's. Like, is there anything out there that right now that you're like, I want that, and we're going to have that soon?
Yeah, lighting. So the Scan Grip Mini Match, Sun Match Mini, their new pen light. I'm going to have a Phoenix light, the PD35 2.0. So those are new products that I'll be working on here soon. Interior package I've been talking about forever. Interior package needs to get done. All the Prevost stuff we now have. Bryce has got to get photos and up in the store. So we'll have a full lineup of Prevost compressed air stuff, because I want to be able to offer configurated compressed air solutions. Obviously the pressure washing stuff, which we should have up in the next several weeks. I'm going to let's see what else. The Hyde stuff. So some some wheel some tweaks to the wheel cleaning package. I don't know about. I've been talking to Phil from Auto Fanatic about his wheel cleaner, and then it's part of the reason why I bought the IK foamers. I've been struggling with those, and I don't like them at all. Is the potential to when his wheel cleaner is out and available, to test it and see if it's something that's viable that we could promote together. So maybe a change to something like that. But the big thing I'm hoping is sprayers. So I discussed with the sprayer company. So I discussed with them about me becoming the exclusive importer of that product.
This is a spray bottle?
Spray bottle, yeah. Okay. So spray bottles, and then the spray bottle would then coincide with the goal, which would be to have a co-branded line of products. So that way you could have, let's say that in my recommended regimen that we have 9 spray bottles, but they're from 9 different companies. Adams, Nexzet, whatever, P&S, all the different companies, CarPro. So to have all these companies' products in my bottle with a common label, but they're not common products. It's not my goal to just go to Adams and say, hey, make me my own product line. My goal is to have the best products, in my experience, in the world, and have them all vetted, tested, and be able to swap out what's in that bottle. And so the option will be you'll be able to buy the bottle with the stuff that I recommend in it, or you'll just be able to buy the bottle to put the stuff you like in it. And I think that will be significant. If this bottle is what I think it is, I've been testing it for like a month now. It's the most legit we have. This company built it from scratch. They didn't buy it from from a Chinese development type company. So it's legit, and I think it's going to be reasonable. I think they're going to be maybe $10 to $15 a bottle, not the $35 that I was afraid it was going to be. So that will be a big thing in order to create an Obsessed Garage product line, but not of Obsessed Garage products. I want to be nimble. I want to be agnostic on the products and be able to choose what I want, but put it in a better bottle. So that's a huge goal for the product line, and I would like to have a mid-level pressure washing option. And then who knows what else, man. I've got a freaking zillion things I'll be working on. New lights, creating a lighting solution. A lot of stuff will come about if I do my garage. We'll come up with a whole bunch of extra products.
Right. Okay, so kind of the opposite of that then. This is new stuff you want to bring in. Are there things now that you find yourself growing tired of, or saying, okay, maybe this isn't a great option anymore, we're going to phase this out?
Not really.
Okay.
The car wash line will change a little bit with the discovery of Bead Maker. It becomes, the Optimum Spray Wax becomes less viable, and just for the simplicity of those that maybe don't watch this stuff as much, but just what happens a lot is I get the guy who just decided he wants to start detailing and doesn't know anything about it, and then they just buy the packages. And so the car washing package, I want to have, Bead Maker is now my sole drying aid. So I'll be phasing out like Kenatech, the Kenatech Showroom Shine, and an Optimum Spray Wax. And then like the wheel cleaning package, add the hides to it. Because again, the longer term goal is to get to where the product lines or the solution from start to finish of every single thing that I use in the garage is vetted, tested, and then easy to understand. And so where things will change, the microfiber towels will probably change the most often as I discover changes there. But the one that comes top of mind would probably be the car washing package will change, and a couple of things will get dropped.
Gotcha. I think it's been a while. We're ready to wrap this up.
Well, how long are we on? We're just getting started.
50 minutes.
Oh no, we got to keep going. We need at least 2 hours. What else do we got?
Well, we'll
I'm
go
paying
back
all you guys, so we can keep going.
We'll go back to something you mentioned in the beginning that I know. How many people do we have watching now, Bryce? We got 50-ish.
Oh, that's it. Well, maybe we should shut it down.
They all want to know. You mentioned at the beginning about having to do your burpees as your. Just to recap, because I know not everybody keeps up with every video. Which I actually saw a guy post in the Facebook group yesterday. Who's Matt? Which was kind of funny. It's like new people come in all the time. But basically, the short version, Matt and I had a weight loss bet this year, and I won and he lost. And he chose the stakes this time, which were 500 burpees. The loser had to do 500 burpees. And so the contest ended in August of 2018. So it's now January of 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And so everyone, they're blowing up the chat asking, when in the world you're finally going to do this? Your back hurts, your ankle hurts, your eyes hurt, everything hurts. When is it finally going to happen? Or are you going to try to weasel your way out of it? Or negotiate a buyout?
Likely, yeah. 50 cents a burpee?
No way.
That's not a good that's not a good number.
You're
75 cents a burpee.
A little low there.
75 cents a burpee.
No.
80 cents. I'll wash your car for a week. I got to get it done. I'll have it done this month. 500
right.
burpees.
And if you don't have it done this month, what's the penalty? I'll write this down.
I don't know. I don't need any more motivation. It's been weighing. It's on my docket. It's like procrastination. It's hard because I have to do it in a day. I'm not going to do 500 burpees in a week. That's nothing. Just do 50 twice a day. And you'll be done in 5 days. But I got to do it in a day. And for those of you who are like 5'8", you're like thinking, what's the big deal? But if you're over 6 feet tall and you're over 200 pounds, a burpee is like the worst thing in the world.
It's terrible.
Yeah, it's just, and I can't touch my toes. So, part of the deal is you bring your feet to your hands, but I can't freaking do that because I can't touch my toes. And so I'm really bent over, and so it's a big pain in the rear. I mean, I can do them, but I just can't do them fast. It takes me about 10 minutes to do 100. So, but the next 100 will be 15 minutes, and the next 100 will be 30 minutes, and the next 100 will be an hour and a half. That's the problem. So I'm going to get it done. In fact, let's see. What is today? Today's the
January the 3rd or 4th.
Maybe I should just do it this weekend and get it, or next weekend and get it over with.
Sounds good to me.
All
we can live stream that.
Yeah, we probably should.
They're proposing you have to pay interest on those burpees.
Oh yeah, good job, Jared.
Let's roll through these questions here. So go back to the top. Let's see if there's anything interesting that we should ask. Late joiner, Dallas, Texas, Blood Hand, CrossFit Cult shirt.
Interior package. We addressed that.
Yep. How many employees? Well, there's 8 of us total at HQ. That's how many employees we have. If you count me and Michelle. Michelle does all the drop shipping stuff. Just got my Greenworks for $69. Yeah. So what I think is happening with the Greenworks stuff is I don't think the Greenworks stuff is discontinued. I just think Lowe's is discontinuing in favor, like Bryce said, for the Craftsman line. I don't think there's a whole new line of Greenworks stuff coming out. They're just blowing them out to make room for their own stuff, with which they have a if you walk into a Lowe's, it's like Craftsman City. And I think the Craftsmans are the same Chinese that manufactured like the Briggs & Stratton. They're like the same darn thing. So that's, I think, what's going on there. For those of you who haven't seen it, and then they're blowing them out for like $50 at Home Depot. Let's see. What's this one? How you're handling team struggle this year with Villanova. For those of you who don't know, I went to Villanova. I'm a huge basketball fan. We won the national championship last year, so I don't freaking care if they lose every game. I'm 2
in the past few years.
Yeah, I'm fine. They could lose the next 50 games. I'll be fine with it. Let's see. Compressed air, Greenworks, Clay Lube. Still waiting on the Krenzel pressure washing video. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to do that one. I'm kind of working through the process of everybody wants to see what the Krenzel tested out as. Well, it measured 1.96 GPM with a 4.0 nozzle. So if I were to put a 4.2 nozzle, like a little slightly bigger 4.5, we'd get right at 2.1 GPM. So the specs are pretty accurate. It measures about 950 psi. So it's there's a big difference between 1.4 GPM and 2. Let's see.
Yeah, see that one there about I've heard this in a couple emails too about people in apartment complexes with those smaller units. So they're happy to see those being discussed and considered.
Yeah, I'll probably test there's portable ones too where you put water in it and all you have to do is plug it in. So the ones that don't have water necessary. We have Nilfisk in the U.S., but not very prevalently. So I should probably talk to my friend Dan, who used to basically run sales for Krenzel USA, runs it for Nilfisk. So I think that I'll at least have a conversation with him about maybe getting my hands on those pressure washers to test them out.
He just sent you an email right before we started, actually. So that's in the
he did
in the works. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Keep scrolling down. Wait, what's he saying? Anybody know what will go up a little bit? I don't know what package I should get for the Harbor Freight 1750 Portland. That one is going to be the same as the entry-level Sunjos and ARs. I'm almost certain. So it'll be those packages will be out here soon. So you'll need some M22 15mm fittings and things like that. But it'll be the same package as that. I don't think I'll buy an M5. I don't really have a desire for an E60 M5, the V10. I don't think F10 M5. I don't see those in my future. I think I'd rather buy some other off-brand cars for that. New 911 design is cool. It's just turbo, which makes it sound not as good. Let's see. This is terrible live streaming. Dead air. Keep going. Other country talked about shipment. Why can I only pay by PayPal? I'm not sure why, because you should be able to pay by anything on the store. The new bottles are not from Belgium. They're from Germany. Let's see. Corvette. Yeah, Corvette ZR1, right? Isn't that what it's called, or is it ZL1? I can never freaking keep it straight. Freaking stupid Chevy names. Let's see. No, I'm not doing CBD oil. I'm not into that. Let's see. I guess we are done. Shoot. There should be some other cool stuff I need to talk about. Trying to Krenzel solution, shipping to Canada. Again, available. We'll have to check out that why we can't ship the Krenzel to Canada.
I've outlawed Canada. Sorry, Canadian.
Do I need to use an SiO2 spray sealant on a ceramic coated car if I'm using BeadMaker? No. You just use BeadMaker right on top of the silicon dioxide coating, the main coating.
They're telling us how many people are watching now.
Oh, yeah. Military discount. That's a good question. I get that a lot. Do you do a first responder, military? Do you do a teacher? Do you do a left-footed
ventriloquist?
Right. Discount. I just decided very early on to not play any kind of discounting game. I ran the Black Friday sale, which I was stubborn about, but I did that. It's not that I don't support teachers and firefighters and military and all of the such. It just, I don't know. I just don't like to do, probably me being stubborn, I don't like to do what everybody else does. What instead I'm attempting to do is price everything fairly and just leave it the same across the board so that everybody knows there's no cheating the system. It's just, this is the price. And so I don't have to play any games at all. Maybe it's the wrong choice, but it's just a choice I made in the beginning. And if I don't stick to it, then I head down this slippery slope that it's kind of like me and Tostitos. If I eat one, I'm going to eat the whole darn bag,
Right.
Like I can't have a Cheez-It or like a little baggie of Cheez-Its. I'm going to eat the entire gosh darn container. So I'm just an all or nothing kind of dude. So that's one thing I've just chose to do early on. What do you think there is, Matt? Do you think there's anything special about decontaminating if you have BeadMaker on the car? I don't think so. I mean, it's just a polymer sealant, so I don't think there's anything you need to do. Let's see. Was anything about S2000 better than your M3 or M1? Yeah, definitely the shift shift linkage. Being a direct gate, that you're sitting right on top of the transmission is just fantastic. Although my darn, the clutch, I kind of took some heat for some people thinking that I burned out the clutch in the S2000. I've been driving a darn manual for a really long time. I just think that I had a bad clutch. Other than the thing locking out in third gear, which was a clutch flywheel issue, which by the way I paid to put a new one in. They're really that's the best part about the S2000. Let's see, with your spray bottles, you prefer 20-ounce sizes? Yes. So these bottles will come in 500, 750, or 1 liter. So 500 milliliters, which is 17 ounces roughly, and then a 26.4 ounce, and then the 32 and change ounce that a 1 liter bottle is. So we'll have all those different options. Better to buy a gallon of BeadMaker or just the 16 ounce? I would buy the 32 ounce and the gallon because you'll roll through it. What are you expecting of the new M3? I'm expecting to suck balls and be terrible. It's going to probably be freaking automatic only. I think it's going to look goofy, and I'm out. So if they're going to fart crazy in it, then I'm not into that. Let's see, GT350 a good financial buy? Probably not. I don't think many cars are. I think even the 1M, even though it's holding value, I'm sure I'll figure out a way to lose money on it. So cars in general, probably not smart. I bought my GT350 for $55,000, sold it for $50,000, and so I mean you're likely going to lose some money on it. And let's see, latest on hyperdressing. Yeah, good question. That's another product I need to add to the store, is the hyperdressing stuff. I need to get on that. That's a pretty easy thing. The key is I want to be able to bottle it in 32-ounce bottles, and I'll talk to my buddies at McGuire's and see if I can get them to let me do that. Will you be carrying Yeti brand buckets? No, those don't really make any sense to me.
You should tell them about the buckets, by the way.
Yeah, the pressure washing systems have kind of supplanted us getting the buckets up. But in the next month, we have the buckets here. We have the dollies, the wheels. So I have gray wheels and red wheels. We have now black labels. I have the wash and rinse in both colors, both options. You can get them in blue rinse or red wash or blue wash or black of either one of those. And so we basically have the configurator done. We just have to create the individual products in the store so that people will be able to buy whatever version of the buckets they want via the configurator or a la carte. And the bucket prices has already fallen down to $295 for the complete package, the way I design it, the way that I choose to do it. And what was I going to say? So that will be up here shortly. If you want it and you don't want to wait for it, just hit me up, and we can build whatever custom package you want. And now people won't be able to argue that they can go do it for less, because you freaking can't. I'm telling you you can't.
Yeah, previously we were drop shipping those directly from a supplier, and so it was kind of a one size fits all. You had to buy the package or nothing at all. Which also we included shipping in that price, which is why now we dropped the price. And so now that we have everything here, we can be a lot more. We get emails pretty often, hey, can I just buy one bucket at a time? My wife would let me do that, or something like that. And now you have the ability, you can pick and choose. Okay, maybe this month I'll get this, and a month or two later I'll get this, and eventually get to where you want to be.
Somebody said, let's see, how about the new M competition? Yeah, maybe not. I don't know what he's asking there. Love your stories. Any chance you'll do more business-related stuff similar to your business coaching videos? Yes. So asking about business coaching, that's the kind of stuff that I'll do a lot more of on the membership platform. I don't know, it won't be on the pre-platform, but a lot of the personal stuff I'll be doing more of in a weekly vlog style, weekly live podcast style on that platform. And I know that some will complain. I mean, it's going to be like $60 for the year to get in there, but it's a way for me to control that a little bit more. And I'll do some of it in the free YouTube channel, but a lot of that will be on the membership platform. Brian's asking about can I address using different wheel cleaners with carbon ceramics. And the question is what's the point? Why do we need sodium thioglycolate, whatever the stuff is that turns purple? That chemical is really unnecessary for carbon ceramics because the brake pad material is very different than the pad material from a steel brake. And so really we don't need a heavy-duty wheel cleaner for a carbon ceramic equipped car because the dust from those brakes don't build up like a traditional pad and rotor would. The main reason I just like to have one wheel cleaner, and I like the lubrication I get from the Adams versus some of the others. And I like the process of using a bottle and a sprayer. So I guess an argument could be made: why don't you just put some Adams shampoo in a sprayer and spray it on the wheels? I guess that would probably make sense. But I just like to have a single bottle with wheel cleaner. There's not a lot of thought that has gone into it other than I find that wheel cleaner really doesn't break down the coating that's on the wheels anyway. So I just use the same product for the application on all sets of wheels. Let's see. How is taxed work out to ship to the UK is on the total price with shipping. How is the tax worked out to ship to the UK? So if you're international, if you're in a country not in the US, the store, we now have a platform called Zonos, right? And so Zonos, what happens is when you go to checkout, it takes you to technically a different site, but it looks like our site. And so if you click in the bottom right-hand corner, and we have to figure out a way to make this more prevalent. In the bottom right-hand corner, there's a little American flag or a little, British flag or whatever country you live. You can click that, and it will tell you, what the the qualifier for not paying VAT or import duties. So it gives you a basic idea of what your taxes are going to be. And then when you go to checkout, once you put your address in, it'll give you the option to choose if you want to pay your duties and taxes up front. And so then theoretically, we collect that sum, and then when we ship DHL or UPS, then they charge us which you've already paid us. They charge us rather than charging you, and it supposedly for some countries makes it get there quicker. And so the calculator is based on that Zonos software's platform, which should be accurate. If we have the accurate tariff codes, assuming the customs agent doesn't open the box and determine our tariff code is incorrect, it should be pretty well vetted. Let's see. Any updates on coming OG membership program? We're probably, I don't know, Bryce, what do you think, 2-3 months away probably from that. We're building the program, and we launched a version of it on the site, and it slowed everything down and changed all the prices, and so we're kind of back to the drawing board on that, but we're getting close. BH Commerce is my web developer, and so they're working on that for us. Does having different color cars drive you nuts like me, or do you like the variety? I do like the variety. Best towel from the rag company is the Creature Blue, the one that I have in my store, the edgeless, I call it the edgeless small drying towel. Next trip to the mountains, what car would I take? Next trip is June 27th. It's on the Facebook group, and I'll probably take the GT3 RS. Let's see. Will you get an BMW M2 competition? It's getting great reviews. Yeah, well, those people are freaking idiots because it has the S55 fart box in it. So, no, I was looking at getting an M2 instead of my E92 M3. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to buy an M2 that was new. I wanted to get a new one. I wanted to do the whole experience. Order it, spec it, choose the color, even though M2s don't have a lot of options, choose the color and everything that I wanted, pick it up at the Performance Delivery Center, drive it home through the mountains. I wanted to do the whole experience. And when they discontinued the N55 M2, and now it's the S55 M2 competition, I immediately dismissed. There's just no way. So all these reviews, they don't care about sound, and they don't care about soul. So I have zero interest in that car. I'm sorry to those of you who have it, but if I had one, I would sell it in a week. It just wouldn't work. E92 has bearing issues. It's so frustrating to me. Stop trying to sound smart. They're not. E92 has tight rod bearing tolerances. The E92 could have a rod bearing failure due to the tolerance being too tight, you're not warming up your car properly, or over revving, or what have you, or just bad luck because the metallurgy of that bearing was no good. So there's a potential for you to have wear. But I'm not going to have 280,000 miles on my freaking E92 M3. And even if I did, I would just change the bearings out every 50 or 60 or 75,000 miles. So it's really just a normal maintenance. It's a $2,500 non-event. So stop talking about freaking rod bearings. It's stupid. It makes you sound stupid. What wheels are currently on the 1M? They are RSV. I forget what the model number was, but they're a forged 3-piece aluminum wheel. I like them. They don't fit. They rub. And so, I mean, it does fit if I probably raise the rear end up a little bit, but it rubs in the rear because they're 295. So if you probably put 285s in the rear and raise it up a little bit, it would probably fit. But I don't know. I prefer an OEM looking style on the 1M. I almost called it an M1. Let's see. Do you ever stuff getting an American sports car like a Corvette? Yeah, we talked about that earlier in the podcast here. I think that I'll probably buy a Corvette at some point. The only problem with that is I know I'm not going to like it, and that's probably not going to go well for my reputation when I'm bashing it all the time. What, if any, differences are there in washing a classic vehicle versus modern? I don't have a lot of experience with it, but I have been trained on it specifically by Mike Phillips from AutoGeek. A lot of those older cars don't have the drainage, or they don't do as well with seals, and the channels tend to hold water, and then you have issues with rusting. So I know a lot of pros would suggest that you do a waterless wash, like an O&R type wash, to a classic rather than a traditional bucket and pressure washer and hose type of wash, because of the potential to get rust and things like that on it. Yeah, those are the wheels there. Which model number is that? It's the top one, top left. So those are the ones, the RS1. Yeah, RSV, RS1 are the wheels on it. Let's see. If you buy a new Corvette, you should consider the option to take delivery directly from the Bowling Green factory. Yeah, that would be cool. I would like to do that if I were going to do it. Are you sticking with the full Alcantara shifter? I think I am. I do like the weight of the F10 M5 shift knob that I have or had, but I think I'm going to keep it. I really like how it looks, and the M3 is the car for me. So the 1M won't be replacing. I can pretty much guarantee you that. Any plans to keep building your home theater setup? Funny, Tito, I've been thinking about that a lot. I'd like to do a bigger display in there. I started looking at laser projectors, but the problem is the Sony laser is like $25,000, and then the screen is another $6,000. To do like a Stewart Firehawk with masking and things like that. So that's not really in the cards. So what I'd like to do is get the 77 OLED to make it a little bit better. I just put a new remote in. The other thing I'd like to do is I'm going to sell my JTR sub, that massive dual 18 monstrosity. I'm going to probably sell that or put it somewhere else, like an HQ here or something, just for the fun of it. And I'd like to do 4 18s, so one in each corner. The seat and submersive is what I'm looking at doing. So I would do a seat and submersive main, and then the other 3 would be slaves that work off of that same main sub. And I'd have a lot better low frequency dispersion if I did all 4.
We had a couple people ask about training event. You mentioned doing stuff here at OGHQ, but this is a good time you can do like a commercial for. There's still time to sign up for Rupes, right? Yeah, the January event, still time. We have 27 people signed up for it, so I still have plenty of room if you want to come. It's $750. That's January something. So it's in like 3 weeks. The other thing I'm going to launch probably tomorrow is the Rupes Advanced training with me and Jason Rose and Dylan. That'll be March. What are the date? I think March 13th through the 15th, or March 11th through the 13th, and then 13th through the 15th, or whatever that week is in the middle of March. That's going to be advanced training. I'm going to launch that here probably tomorrow or the next day. So that's coming up. But trainings here in the U.S. In HQ are probably not till later this year. We need more room. First, we got to get these pressure washers out of here, but we need more space. I would need to have the other side of the building for that. What else do we got? What mics are we using here? These are Shure SM7Bs. They're a little boomy out of the box, so we're going to set up some sort of PC, I think, for live streaming here, and then we're going to work on attenuating the bass a little bit and making it sound a little bit more natural. But these are pretty much the standard mics. They're amazing. It's on a Yellow Tech,
these are like radio station quality professional mic booms. So that's what we're on. But I'd like to get some of the boominess out of it. My voice isn't this deep and rich. What else have we got?
Mosmatic. A couple people have asked me about that as well. The new Mosmatic.
So the final designs, I'll show you a couple of things. So the final designs for the quick disconnects are here. So this is a M22 to 3/8 coupler. They're just awesome. What are you doing? Oh, this camera, yeah. So there's the M22 to 3/8 coupler. That's the prototype. So this is good. One thing we had to do was lengthen I had to add another set of teeth, or 2 sets of teeth to it. It was a little bit too short and was butting up against the plastic shroud on the Krenzel gun. Here's a 1/4 inch. This is the new 1/4 inch, but this is like an SAE type or equal thread. So it threads all the way into the gun. This is a 1/4 inch quick disconnect. And then I'm also working on this M22 stainless fitting. So this would be M22 to 3/8. And the fit and finish of these and how these connect together are just next level. I don't know what they're going to cost, but this has been a lot of the holdup. The gun is done. The gun is designed. The new Mosmatic is set up. It's ready to go. It's now hopefully in production in the next couple of weeks. And I'm working on their machining 40-degree Mosmatic stainless nozzles for the new nozzle and the new wand. So my guess would be April or May. I don't know. I was supposed to be April or May last year, but lots of issues with this M22 to 3/8 coupler ended up being a little bit too long, so we had to redesign that. And they're kind of doing this whenever they can, which Mosmatic is a small company in Switzerland, so we're working on it. But the key was to get all the right connections, so that otherwise, what was the point? And so this hopefully will be, and I'll be sure to let everybody know. It'll be exclusive to me, so I won't have to compete with the douchey online copiers. It'll have an Obsessed Garage branded nameplate, so a Mosmatic Obsessed Garage co-branded nameplate, but it won't have full stainless internals. There really wasn't any payoff to that, and it was going to cost another $50 to $70 per gun. So we left the internals of the gun alone, which they're great, and just went with making sure that we got better quick disconnects. That is more important than the getting the internals of the gun changed. The QDs will be 14 millimeter. I've put in a request to have them offer 15 millimeter as well, but that should be something as simple as just milling out or boring out the inlet. But for now, it'll be start with 14, and then we'll see if we can get them to do 15 millimeters as well. But the problem is this part is probably going to be $20. $15 to $20 in comparison to $8, from an MTM. So I just don't know if it's going to be viable for a $50 pressure washer, because you need a couple of these, and so I don't even know if 15 millimeters even makes sense. So anyway, let's wrap it up here. What are your thoughts on the M3 non-weighted Alcantara versus the M5? It's very subtly different and almost not noticeable. Remember, my M3 has a shift knob or a short shift kit, so it's not as big of a deal. I know you don't do a lot of O&R washes, but what would you recommend for a drying aid? I would use Bead Maker after O&R for a waterless wash of the same process. What do you think of the N54 M2 LCI? I'd prefer that over the M2 competition. So that would be like a 2017 M2. I think that's a cool car. But the M1, the 1M is I'd prefer. I think, even though it's not as balanced, it has some character. Let's see.
That might be a good one to end on there.
Yeah.
As we go forward here, do you miss wealth management? How are you liking what you're doing so far?
No, I don't miss it at all. especially when the market's down, 600 points on Christmas Eve. I was like, ha ha, that sucks for everybody. Sucks for my money, but sucks for everybody that has to deal with that crap. No, I'm. It. Although at the time it didn't feel like the right move, it's clearly the right move. I'm enjoying life big time. So the transition away from it. Again, I've said this many times. Someday I'll write it in my book and tell you the story, and hopefully it'll all work out for the better. Meaning it'll all work out in the end for a better story. But you'd be shocked at the story if I told it to you. But the transition has been amazing. We went from, it was my parents, it was packing and shipping out of their little house up in Pennsylvania to they're here now. Chris is here, Bryce is here, Ted is here, Wendy's here. Michelle's been doing a lot of stuff for the company. So it's and I get to kind of chase this dream of building a destination that I think Obsessed Garage already is and can become. So anyway, the plan is to do this kind of thing. We'll work on, Chris and I are going to work on a schedule, and then we'll put the live streams up. And so I'll also put this up on the actual podcast, on all the different all the different platforms. So we'll put it up there, and we'll work on camera angles and how we run it and who we have on it. I'd like to start having some guests and things like that as well, either remotely or physically, occasionally, to get them to tell their story. But we're gonna keep doing this. We'll see how it goes. So I think it's better to have somebody to keep me on track. Otherwise, I'll just keep rambling forever.
Yeah, and the comments and the questions from the 300 plus people watching were awesome and kind of helped guide it as well. So thank you all out there for
that's
doing
pretty
that.
cool. 300 people in the middle of the afternoon on a Wednesday or Thursday or whatever the heck it is, on a Thursday without any announcement. That's pretty cool. So hopefully we can get to the point where we have thousands.
Yeah, and somebody mentioned kind of advertising it on Instagram, Facebook, and this was all kind of. This is a test run.
Yeah, we wanted to test it so we didn't screw it up. Right. And so we'll improve the audio, we'll improve the video, we'll improve the actual structure, the format, and we're gonna make it awesome, I think. So, thanks for watching, everybody. We'll catch you soon.